This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Horror Fraud Podcast. That is Mike Martin.
That is Michael Combs.
And that is Keith Clanton.
We are continuing our journey through the supernatural and are back with episode 9 in our series. I have a question.
Okay.
Have you ever used your telekinetic abilities to send a notorious serial killer back to the watery grave that you awoke him from?
My junior prom.
Oh, okay, Mary Lou.
I was thinking Carrie, but...
Huh?
I was thinking Carrie.
Yeah, that's our senior prom.
Find my senior prom.
Oh, senior prom. Well, you are in luck, because today we are discussing Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
This is the one you've been waiting for.
What's happening to me?
Your psychokineses and these delusions.
No, you're not listening to me!
The one you've been asking for.
Hey, Tina, isn't this the way they wear their jackets back in the mental hospital?
Concentrate. Concentrate, Tina!
The one you've been dying for.
You people give me the creeps.
Okay, you big hunk of a man, come and get me.
Jason is back. But this time, someone is waiting.
Jason?
Tina, don't go in there!
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
There goes the neighborhood.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood is a 1988 American supernatural slasher film directed by John Carl Buechler. I think I'm saying that right. Don't really know. And it stars Lar Park Linkcoln, Kevin Blair, better known as Kevin Spirtas, Susan Blue, Terry Kiser, and Kane Hodder in his first appearance as Jason Voorhees, a role that he would reprise in 3 more films in the series. Michael.
So the movie opens with a voiceover, and we get previous movie flashbacks, and that ends with the ending of Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Mm-hmm. So, did you know that this was the last film in the series to feature flashbacks?
I did not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Why do you think that is? Actually,
Because they're no longer called Friday the 13th movies?
no, that's not it. Actually, I don't know if this is the reason, but I do know that because there's a lot of flashbacks in pretty much all the movies, and they never paid their actors royalties until years later, because some of these actors, you know, they were in, like, let's say Friday the 13th Part 2. I'm just going to use Amy Still as an example, because I know that she spoke about this. But she never saw any of the movies after that. You know, it was like a one-and-done kind of thing. Well, she didn't find out until much later that they were using clips from Part 2 that featured her and all these other subsequent films, and she was not getting paid for it. So, a lot of the actors ended up eventually making royalties off of all the other movies, because even though it was a very small clip,
They were still
they're
in it.
still in the movie. Still said that she actually made more in royalties from her little cameo in Mean Girls than she does the Friday the 13th series. Because, you know, in Mean Girls, before she comes in from the Halloween costume party that she's dressed up as, like, an ex-wife, she says, Damien and... Help me out. Damien and what's the other girl's name?
Lizzie Kaplan's character?
Yeah, but what's her... Janice. Janice and Damien are watching Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So she says she actually makes more royalties from that than she does the Friday the 13th series. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Also, there's the beginning of this movie is narrated, right? You can hear a narration. Do you know who that person is?
Kane Hodder?
No.
Yeah.
Don't know what his actual name is, but it's the man that played Crazy Ralph in Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay.
Remember Crazy Ralph?
Yep.
The only little... Look, we're diving into all kind of little tidbit info for this. But one thing that I saw when I was looking up something else with it was that... you know who, the writer is?
No.
That's because nobody does. Apparently, it was, a fake name that was tagged to this script. Because apparently the script was written during a strike and nobody wanted to stake claim over having put this script out there in the world during the middle of a strike. So nobody's ever known who actually wrote this script.
Classified as a rat.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know if it's the same writer, but I do know that this was supposed to be a Freddy vs. Jason movie, and they couldn't, come to an agreement, the two studios, so then they kind of rewrote it and came up with this Tina character. Because you think about it, it's not really your typical Friday the 13th movie. She's pretty much fighting back the whole movie. Mm-hmm. So they added that in. So I don't know how much of that script was actually used for this.
Well,
or if it's the same writer, I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that. Because that was a long time ago, considering how long it took to actually get a Freddy vs. Jason movie.
Well, and then I guess where it wasn't necessarily well praised, the writer didn't want to come forward because of that either. So
crazy to me, because we will get to my review later, but I really like this one.
Well, I think this movie's perfect for you. You love a slasher, and somehow we get a supernatural slasher, so...
Well, yeah, and one of my favorite horror movies is Carrie, so it's you're pretty much putting Carrie into
I think the article I was reading about that said that, I don't know, I guess it was the director, because we don't know who the writer was, it put the idea out there of a Jason versus Carrie, and then that was kind of where this snowballed into what we got.
Yeah, which I'm not mad about.
No. So we see Jason, and he's still under the water at the lake. We then see a little girl, Tina, who is listening to her parents fight. She runs and goes to the dock and gets in a boat. Her dad follows after her, and he runs to the end of the dock. Tina, upset, makes the water bubble, and the dock falls down onto her dad, killing him.
So are we to assume that this is he's abusive to the mother, is what I'm gathering from all this, right?
Yes.
They don't ever explicitly say that he was abusive towards Tina, though, right? Even through the rest of the movie, I don't think it was just a quarrel between him and the mother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of thought that it was just a distraught child watching her parents fight.
And she didn't like seeing them fight, and they fought all the time, apparently.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean...
Because then even when she, she's like, Daddy, no!
Yeah, well,
so
and later on, she tells her mother that I miss him so much.
Him, yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So this was probably something to where he was maybe abusive towards the mom, but maybe he was a good dad. I mean, we know very little about Mr. Shepherd.
Nothing.
We
see a grown Tina and her doctor, Dr. Cruz, in a car with her mom.
Bad news, Cruz.
They make it to their old cabin.
So, here's my question about the cabin. Have they just owned it this whole time?
And haven't gone back?
And haven't gone back over the years?
I mean...
At least I feel like Tina hasn't, but...
I think so.
Maybe they just rent it out.
Well, because it's a fully furnished home. But you can tell that nobody's lived there. It's got cobwebs. It's dusty.
I also, because we, at one point, don't you see out on the lake that what fell on her dad is still just down?
Yeah, there's still a little dock, but not it was. Not because it was a covered dock. So it's a little dock, but it's not the full thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was a part where you could see the covering was still just down.
Oh, I don't know.
I do not remember seeing that, but
because I just thought that would kind of play along with that, as far as it being something that hasn't been lived in or taken care of in however long.
Yeah.
But I would assume they probably would have had to have moved the cover to attempt to find.
the way the ending is, I don't think they
Yeah.
gave a shit.
Yeah, I don't think they went back looking for him or anything. But, okay, let me, do you think, so Lar Park Linkcoln's character, Tina, who's our final girl in this, she's supposed to be, what, like 19? She's supposed to be 19 in this movie, okay?
Is she? Oh, I was thinking she was like 23, 24.
No. Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So she was supposed to be 19. She auditioned, and they liked her, but she was 26 at the time she auditioned, and they were like, man, I don't know if she can portray a 19-year-old, okay? And I think she's supposed to be a little bit younger than the kids that are next door. Those kids are supposed to be like early, I'd say like 20, 21, 2, 3, something. She's supposed to be a little bit younger. But what's funny about this is there were two other actresses that read for it, the part of Tina. And at the time, and they did this with a lot of Friday the 13th movies, the script would not be called Friday the 13th because they wanted to keep it a secret, and it would just have some random name. And this one was called Birthday Bash. And two girls read for it and were really close to getting it, and then realized, oh, this is a Friday the 13th movie, and both of them had already been previously in Friday the 13th movies. So they couldn't, can't bring, because I guess these were both like minor characters in other movies. I can't remember exactly.
Probably got killed.
Yeah. I can't remember which two actresses it was. But they ended up going with Tina because, again, last minute, one of the girls dropped out because she was like, oh, I've already been in a Friday the 13th movie. You don't think, like, this is the 7th movie in the series, and it's like different director pretty much every movie, so I'm sure there was no way for them to know.
Well, and I feel like horror movies are kind of notorious for having, like, unknown actors at the time that kind of make it big later.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of horror movies are jumping off points for a lot of actors.
Yeah.
So.
But apparently they used a lot of makeup to try to make her look younger, which, to me, it doesn't look like she has a whole lot of makeup on in this movie. And so if they did do that, I would say they
I also don't feel like
job.
she looks like she's 19, though, so.
No. Well, here's the thing. At that time, you always had like 20-somethings playing
Younger people.
Even in the 90s, we did.
Now, you have a lot more younger actors that play younger
Also,
actors.
Just didn't really... I mean, I didn't think that looking at her and looking at the kids next door, I didn't really feel like there was much of an age difference just looking at them.
No. Well, and there probably wasn't in actuality, but...
True.
Anywho.
So as Tina's taking out her luggage, it pops open, and Nick from the cabin next over comes over to help her.
What do we think about Nick?
So this is where we meet Kevin Blair, as he's credited.
But Kevin Spirtas.
Apparently that's his middle name, Kevin Blair Spirtas.
Yeah. I like the short denim cutoffs. That's very 88. And then there's two of the girls are sitting out watching. It's Melissa, the resident bitch, and then I can't remember the other girl's name. There's so many.
I was going to say there's so many characters.
I think it's...
I can't even keep them all straight.
Robin, I think, is...
No, it's not Robin. Robin's like Maddie's friend. So Robin's the one with the red hair.
And then there's Ben,
Kate, Eddie, David, and Robin.
Sandra.
And
Maybe it was Sandra. Maybe it was Sandra then.
There's too many.
But there is a lot. Well, that's the thing about Friday the 13th movies. There's always so many characters because there's so many kills in these movies. I mean, you just have a big character count because
they want to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a camp. Well, I mean, I guess
this one not so much.
Right, but
this is Camp Crystal Lake, but it's more people have bought the cabins now.
Well, it's just Crystal Lake. It's not necessarily.
It's not.
camp.
Oh, so it could be like the other side of the Crystal Lake. I got you.
Oh yeah, because I do remember. Later, we see that sign that just says Crystal Lake. 5
That
miles.
makes sense. Okay, I got it. Tina and Dr. Cruz have a videotape session. Nothing is happening until Dr. Cruz makes her angry and she moves a matchbook and starts it on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Dr. Cruz.
I don't think anybody likes Dr. Cruz.
I mean, I feel like he's probably... I mean, there's nothing redeemable about him.
No.
Absolutely not. And he gets worse as the movie goes on.
Yes.
Honestly, and I'll just go ahead and say it while it's on my mind. I feel like in this movie, you think about villains, I would dare say he's a bigger villain than Jason Voorhees in this movie. Between him and Melissa, this movie has a bunch of villains, aside from Jason.
Well, he exploiting Tina.
Yes.
Is self-serving and a narcissist, basically.
Do you think him and Mrs. Shepherd are fucking?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't think she likes him at all.
Well, okay, so here's the reason
I also think she's a carbon muncher, so...
Oh my god,
Oh.
shut up. Just because she looks like a PE teacher from 1988 does not mean she's a lesbian.
I kind of thought they were like...
Well, she is in real life, so maybe she was in the movie.
She was in real life?
Yeah, she's a lesbian in real life.
Susan Blue?
Yes.
No way!
Yes.
Oh my god. I will say, I love Miss Shepherd.
Oh, I love her too.
I think it's probably, aside from Tina, like she's my favorite character. No, I can't say that.
I know who one of your favorites
You know
is.
who one of my favorites is. We'll get there. But I really like her.
No,
in
I
this
like
movie.
I like her mom. I like her mom
I
a
feel
lot.
like this is a really well-rounded cast.
I also think she gets the shaft, which we'll get to.
Don't get me started. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But the only reason I brought up are her and Dr. Cruz having some sort of love affair is because he has an office.
I did find
At
that
the cabin.
weird, but I think he just set it up as an office.
Okay, but he has his diplomas and stuff on the wall. It's not just a random office that they've had at this house and a bunch of.
I'm going to say
bookshelves.
this.
There's a lot of. He has diplomas and like certificates and stuff on the wall, right?
But isn't...
It took me a minute to realize they were at their old cabin because I thought they were at his cabin because of all that.
Well, isn't the picture of her dad in the same room, or is that in the living room?
I think it might
This
be.
just goes back to him being a narcissist. He's like, I'm only here for the weekend. I'm going to put all my diplomas on the wall.
Make myself at home.
I just think that he had been there before.
He very well could have been. I don't.
Maybe with Mrs. Shepherd.
See, I never got that impression. I think she just tolerates him because she wants her daughter better.
See, I almost.
Well, maybe
feel-
he set it up that way because he wanted Tina to feel comfortable and like she was like actually at like a therapy session.
See, in my head, and this is just me, but I feel like this is a doctor who is very money hungry. He's obviously out for himself. Okay, he likes to exploit his patients, but he comes highly regarded because he's very good at whatever. Okay, and in my head, I thought, I bet Miss Shepherd, they didn't have the money to really whatever, and they came to an agreement to where, okay, well, I will work with your daughter for free if you let me document all this, and somewhere along the lines they maybe got a little
The subject of
I
payment.
don't know. I mean, I would hope Mrs. Shepherd wouldn't go that low, but I don't know. You would do very,
Whatever to
desperate
help your
things
kid out.
for your children.
So we then see a couple in a van having sex, which we find out is
They're
Nick's.
doing what? Having sex?
Yeah.
In a Friday the 13th movie?
I know.
That's crazy.
Shocking. We find out it's Nick's cousin Michael and his girlfriend.
Wait, they're not having sex.
They're
Their
doing
cars broke
something.
down.
No, that's later.
Oh,
That's later.
okay.
Tina is crying over her dad's photo. She gets upset and runs outside to the dock. Using her power, she accidentally brings Jason back to life, who erupts from the water. Tina faints over the ordeal.
Okay, so this is where I start to have questions about timeline. Because at the beginning of the movie, she's, I don't know, I'm going to say like 10 years old maybe.
Yeah.
Would you think? Like maybe 10-ish? And whatever. Dad drowns. Obviously, this is the same lake that Jason is buried in. They go back. Now she's a teenager, we'll say 19, and she brings him back to life. Well, the last movie was in the 80s, right? So the timeline, really, if you think about it, makes absolutely zero sense. Because there's no way in hell.
They had a cabin there.
Yeah, that movie, because, okay, so 9 years. 9 years is the time, okay? Well, they had to have built that cabin at some point that her dad died on. The timelines just don't make sense in this movie, to me, if you think about the last one before. Because they're all very close.
And I feel like if you pay close enough attention to part 6, you can obviously tell this is not the same location at all.
Well, because that's where y'all went, right?
Where 6
Camp
was.
Blood, yeah. But when did that movie come out? Just a year or two before. You see what I'm saying? And it would be different if they made it look like a different time. You know, like if,
and it obviously had to be the same spot because he erupted right there.
Yeah, and it would make more sense if, like, maybe part 6 looked like it was a 70s movie or something, and now we're in the late 80s. Yes, I would buy that. That would make sense. But
we just have to pretend.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Halloween's the same way.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. But anyways.
So poor Tina faints. Dr. Cruz and Miss Shepard find her. Tina's then lying on the couch relaying what happened, and they all think it's a hallucination. Michael and his girlfriend's car breaks down. This is where he finds out they are headed to his surprise birthday party.
Her name's Jane.
Again, there are too many fucking characters in this movie.
Well, I do remember them because
I had to get on Wikipedia, or I'm sorry, IMDb, just to find out all the fucking characters' names because there's so many characters. So Nick comes over to the cabin and takes Tina back to his cabin to socialize and meet everyone.
Don't you think that's weird? Because I just know me, even as a 30-year-old man, if I had rented a cabin, Michael, let's say me and you rented a cabin, and we were in Gatlinburg, and the people staying at the cabin next door were like our age, you know, but they were having a party, and they came over and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go to this party?"
Be like, "I don't know you."
First of all, I don't know you. Second of all, I don't know your friends, and I have terrible social.
I wouldn't even answer the door.
So yeah, same. I would have ignored you. You know,
I've been peeking through the blinds. Now I don't know them.
So I just thought it was so weird. But considering this is a late 80s movie, it's just a different time. Like,
completely.
I thought, people probably did do stuff like that. That's how you met people in the 80s, because there was no social media. You didn't have cell phones.
You actually went up to somebody.
You actually had to go up to somebody and introduce yourself.
And talk to him.
Yeah. Now,
I mean, it's not completely far-fetched since they met with the whole luggage, but I get where you're coming
they
from.
Met for like 2 seconds.
He already saw her panties.
Yeah, he knows what she's
Yeah, he picked up those panties. Thanks for the help.
You know, I read that they did not have very good chemistry
while
filming because he's
gay.
Right? Kevin Spirtas is gay, and I feel like at the time maybe he was out. Maybe not out like he is now, but like people knew he was gay.
I don't think their chemistry was bad. It just didn't come off as like...
I don't really think their chemistry feels that bad either in this movie, but on set, apparently, they did not have very good chemistry, and they did not get along.
They get along now, though.
Now they get along really well.
Well, actually, I mean, to kind of play into that a little bit, I actually kind of liked the fact that this movie wasn't so driven by, like, the focus wasn't on their relationship.
No.
So, like, even if they did have bad chemistry, it wouldn't have mattered because it wasn't the focus.
No,
so
it's just like a B story.
Right.
Michael and his girlfriend are walking through the woods to get to the cabin. To make a long story short, Michael and Jane, what did you say her name was? Jane are both killed. I just wrote, Jason loves a tent steak.
Yeah.
Took me a while to figure out what the fuck that was.
Wait, is this where
sleeping bag?
Is it the sleeping bag or
no?
No, that's later. That's the other, like the random couple that just, it's just camping.
More characters.
Yeah, random people. But Michael went to go use the bathroom.
Yes.
I thought that was so funny because I'm like, dude.
Why don't you just pee right
You're
there?
literally in the woods. This is your girlfriend. She has seen your dick before. Do you really need to walk a mile out into the woods to take a piss?
No.
I feel like those two kills are pretty simple.
Jane gets killed first.
Yes.
Jane gets stabbed first. Michael finds her body, and
That's when
then
he,
Jason goes. That's right.
Grabs
Jason
her face.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The things you can do with the tent stake.
Well, the thing is, this movie was one of the... I think it actually might be the most re-edited because...
You can
they
tell.
kept coming back with an X rating, so they had to cut all these death scenes down. And you can tell because even with her, when he goes to... obviously, it's implied that he's stabbing her, but you don't really see anything. And a lot of the kills in this movie are like that.
You don't.
is
you
kind of-
don't see the kill. You just see the body.
Yeah.
It is kind of unfortunate because you see the action happening, you do not see what happens after the action, and then you see the end result when the body's thrown away. or
Jason
whatever.
loves to which we'll get to later, but he really loves to showcase his work, doesn't he? More so than any other
Yes.
serial killer.
Well, probably. For
Well,
his
he has a
mama.
lot of weapons in this movie.
He does.
I also have written down though. Jason has got some killer aim.
Oh yeah,
He never misses.
he's his own.
He only has one eye too, doesn't he? Isn't his other one?
There's no telling.
Yeah, for one-eyed Jack, he has a good aim.
But all that footage that they filmed, that, obviously, a lot of times they'll come out with unrated versions of these movies and include all that stuff. But apparently, all this footage was destroyed.
Lost. That's stupid.
I know.
That sucks.
I know.
So while Tina is meeting everyone, Russ, Melissa, Maddie, Sandra, Ben, Kate, Eddie, David, and Robin, Tina has a vision of Michael being killed and runs out of the
The
cabin.
Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
How big is this place?
I know. How many bedrooms does
Right.
this cabin have? It doesn't look that big.
No.
But, yeah, she sees Michael's dead. What a buzzkill.
I know, right?
What are you doing with your eye?
It's watering. It's bothering me.
I'm telling you, you're going to start staring.
Well, maybe that's why, every time we see a sex scene, with the exception of one, they're in a van. Because they don't have beds.
They don't have any privacy.
That is true.
Yeah.
But I also think in the 80s, people just like to have sex in cars.
Shaggin' wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't feel like any of them were that friendly. Maddie and Robin?
I think
We're
Maddie
kinda
and
friendly.
Robin were pretty friendly. And then, would you say her name was Sandra?
Yeah.
I think Sandra was. She was just worried about, I guess this was her boyfriend's. What's her boyfriend's name? Do you remember which one was her boyfriend?
Eddie?
No, Eddie was the one Robin and Maddie had a crush on. I do know that.
oh.
Was it Ben?
Oh, Russell.
Russell?
Talking about Sandra?
Sandra, they're the ones that go down to the lake together
Yes.
later. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
Russell. Okay. Well, Russell says that that's his uncle's cabin, right? And so people are making a mess. So Sandra seems a little preoccupied because she's trying to make sure that nothing's going on. So she does seem friendly. She's just preoccupied.
Well, no one's as bitchy as Melissa. Well, I'll just say that. So when Tina makes it back to her cabin, she sees the metal tent stake lodged in the back porch. She tells her mom and Dr. Cruz about it. He goes outside and then brings them out, and the stake is gone.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
But you can see the hole where the stake was.
Yeah, which is, look, I'm glad that they did that, because if it was just nothing, I would have been like, kinda
Well, she
pissed.
really would be crazy. They
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
But this goes back to he's trying to make her
Yes. Which we find out
think
later.
she's going
Yeah.
crazy. We now see a couple camping outside. I don't remember her name. The girlfriend is cold and asks her boyfriend, Dan, to get more firewood.
Dan, we need wood.
Well, I've got some in my pants.
Whoa. Michael.
Jason kills him and then kills his girlfriend. And what I've read is Kane Hodder's favorite death scene.
It is. I'd say it's probably one of the most popular kills in the entire series because it's.
Well, who knew a sleeping bag could become a weapon? Because she gets knocked up against that tree pretty
She
good.
does. Well, okay, so we showed this at Fright Night Fridays. When was that? 2 years
2022.
ago? And people loved it. I recorded that on my phone, and people were like laughing and giggling. Like, people just really like that scene.
It is a fun death.
It is a fun death.
It is.
It's a fun death.
It's really fun. If I'm going to go out, I better go out in a sleeping bag.
Slammed up against a tree.
Yes.
The next
Fully nude.
Well, she was acting like a prude, but she just wanted to get naked in the tent.
Sure did.
And then the minute he left to get that wood, she was in that tent getting naked.
She was ready for the wood.
She was. Well, then Jason, she wasn't expecting Jason to cut through that tent.
Who just, I mean, look, I'm not a camper, never claimed to be, but my God, he literally had a full-blown machete that he was like, all right, I'm going to go get this wood. And I'm like, even people I know that camp,
I would just pick up loose wood on the ground.
Are you going to chop down a tree, Dan?
Yeah.
Well, Jason gets his machete back.
Yes, he does.
So the next morning, Ben is making breakfast, and Melissa says Nick is with Martha Munster.
Ugh.
Bitch.
Does she say that? Martha Munster?
Uh-huh.
Martha
I think he's next door with...
I have it in my notes. I heard Martha Munster.
Why didn't she just say Marion? Isn't her name Marion in the show?
Maybe it's a rights
Marion?
issue.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right. Could be.
Nick and Tina are out at the lake, and Melissa is spying on them, and Tina and Nick kiss for the first time.
Ooh, they've spent literally maybe 2 minutes and 37 seconds together. They are in love, honey.
I'm sorry, that was a pathetic kiss.
Well, he's gay. He didn't want to do it.
He was questioning it.
See,
he's like,
there's the chemistry.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but I feel like a first kiss is gonna be awkward, and this is Tina, right? I feel like she probably is not a social butterfly back home.
No, she's been in and out of a mental hospital.
She has.
Yeah. He's trying to figure out if she's crazy.
And he's trying to figure out if he's gay.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Is this the part? At some point, I just have this. Melissa says, oh no, this is later. Go ahead.
Okay. So Tina then goes inside and has a chat with her mom. She then goes next door, and a few of the girls are outside having a barbecue. They go inside, and Tina has another episode, and they make fun of her, and she uses her telekinesis to bust Melissa's pearl necklace.
Ugh.
And then Tina runs out.
Who gave it to her dad?
Because she needed real pearls for her whatever birthday.
That was really mean, though. Like, what a fucking low blow. And I feel kind of bad for the guy that she, like, he didn't know. Because
he didn't know.
Doing.
No.
He was just like, okay, what? But because Melissa was a nosy bitch, she knew all this stuff about her going to the mental hospital. And so...
Is this what they put you in a mental hospital?
This is also the scene right before that where, I don't know who it is, Robin says, "Get real, Maddie."
Oh, you could use a touch-up.
They both like Eddie, and she's going to go smoke with him.
A joint.
Yeah, she's like...
Robin, because Maddie's like the nerdy girl, goody-goody. Robin's a little edgy.
I liked Robin up until that point.
Well, yeah, I thought they were like best friends.
Yeah, when she's
Get
like,
real, Maddie.
I was like, oh, hell no. I don't like anybody in this movie anymore. Like, they're all...
Well, she says, she's like, Maddie, you're not his type. And it's like, girl,
yeah,
and you are?
How do you know?
He ain't after either one of y'all.
Yeah, let's be real. But I'm also like, I mean, this is a teenage boy.
He likes anything.
With a vagina is probably his type. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Because he definitely don't like Robin for her charming personality.
And isn't he like basically drunk or high?
He's stoned the whole time.
He doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
Care. No. A hole's a hole. It could have been fucking Nick.
Hell, it could have been Russell.
Yeah. Could have been an apple pie.
Yeah.
So Tina then is crying to her mom and the doctor. The doctor's doing his usual thing. She gets angry, and with her telekinesis, she throws a TV. I wish it would have hit him right in the head.
Me too.
Knocked his ass out. Yes. So the Nick shows up, and Tina says she wants to leave. Her mom says you need to pack up your stuff. We're leaving in the morning.
I do appreciate her mom. Her mom's like, okay, this has gone too far. We're just gonna go home.
Yeah.
I do appreciate her mom,
She's a good mom.
Okay, I cannot figure out when this happens, but at one point, I feel like maybe Nick is looking for Melissa. So I don't know if this has happened already or not, because there's a bunch of scenes that
there's so many, yeah.
Let me show you about women or whatever.
Well, he's looking for Tina or something, and she says, all is fair in love and war. And then he says, I don't even like you, Melissa. And it just made me chuckle. I think it's really funny. And again, I don't know which scene it happens in, but it's funny.
Well, I think it's he doesn't really like any of those people. He's just there for his cousin.
Right.
Melissa is just so thirsty. She reminds me of all those shirtless guys on Instagram.
Well, that's why, because that one scene where she says that, where Nick goes to leave, because he's going to chase after Tina or whatever, and she stops him and she's like, let me show you what a real woman, or something like that.
I feel like that
where's a real woman?
When this happens.
Yeah.
I feel like he might say, I don't even like you, and then he goes after her.
It definitely could be. So then we see Sandra and Russell go down to the lake, and both are killed.
Lord have mercy. What'd you like about
Jason
me
got
first?
into that lake
Quick.
pretty damn quick.
And quiet.
And we got a nice little Jaws homage there, I feel like.
Well, let's just say Sandra goes in first.
Yes.
She gets completely naked, and she's like, come on, don't be a chicken, blah, blah, blah. And so while she's in the water doing her...
water aerobics.
I guess she's diving. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but she's going up and down. He kills Russell.
Yes.
And then she comes up, and she screams, but Jason's nowhere to be found. And then he's behind her in the water.
Yes.
So it's kind of crazy. But I do like the scene, the underwater where it's her legs and then he grabs her leg and pulls her down. But I thought that water...
sure is deep.
It didn't look that deep from the shore. She didn't swim out that far.
Again, we just have to...
And this
movie
is
magic.
Yeah, movie
this is
magic.
Like a 12-foot drop-off, it looks like.
It's so we could get that Jaws homage there.
Yes.
Back at Nick's cabin, a party is happening, and Maddie is doing her makeup. Jason then peers in the window.
Need a little touch-up work, my ass.
I thought she looked good there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Maddie,
she looked cute.
Okay. Maddie, aside from Tina
is your
my favorite character in this movie. I love Maddie. # justice for Maddie. I like her a lot. And I like her whole entire death / it's not really a chase scene, sort of.
Right.
That's my favorite
mini
part.
chase scene.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie. And I'll tell you why in a second.
So this movie has a lot of, I don't know what you call it, vignettes. It's quick little scenes, so back and forth. So we get a quick scene of Dr. Cruz, and he's looking through his desk, and then is when we see that he pulled the metal tent stake out of the wall and hid it in his desk.
Which is also crazy, because how would he know what kind of spike she was talking about? She just says spike. How do you know?
Well, I mean, she did say left it on the porch, so I guess he could just assume that.
I don't know. Anyway. So,
Melissa is flirting with Eddie to make Nick jealous. That's just a little throwing it out there. Tina's mom...
No, it's not Eddie.
Who is it?
Ben, right? Eddie's the one that Robin sleeps with.
I don't know. According to what I read online, it was Eddie. So.
Oh, God.
Oh, I thought it was Eddie, too.
Well, then who's the one that Robin sleeps with?
There's another guy named Stammers, and I don't know who that is. I have that written down.
Stammers?
I don't have a Stammers.
Okay, well, whatever. Boy A and Boy B and Boy C and Boy D.
Stammers could very well be a last
and Boy
name,
E
too.
and Boy F.
I mean, there's so many. Okay.
He's an F boy.
Yes.
He's her fuck boy.
So Tina's mom goes into Dr. Cruz's room and finds incriminating evidence. Dr. Cruz then finds, I have in my notes, he finds Michael dead. And then he comes back and finds Miss Shepard in his office, and they have a fight. Tina overhears it all, steals the car keys, and flees. She then has a vision of her mom being killed and crashes the car.
Yes. I kind of thought this was like the relationship between Tina and Cruz reminds me a little bit of like Loomis and Michael Myers, except for, like Loomis is really trying to help Michael and Cruz just wants to exploit her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they did a fan film, and it's pretty much like a direct sequel to this, that Terry Kiser is in, Lar Park Linkcoln is in, and I cannot remember what it is called, but it's...
I looked it up today. I can't remember it either. Rose something?
Yes, and I really would like to watch it, because I think even Kevin Spirtas might have a role in it, but... I would really like to see it.
Friday the 13th has a lot of fan
films.
fiction,
A lot
yeah.
of really good fan films. We've watched one or two that were both really
13
good.
Fanboy.
We watched 13 Fanboy, but then we watched the one with Adrienne King in it. Well, I don't know if you did, but I definitely
No, we
did.
did, because Amy Steele's in it, too, at the end.
Well, she calls her on the phone.
That's right, she calls her on the phone.
Yeah. God, what is that one? Is it Never Hike Alone?
Yes.
But it's short. It might not even be a full hour. But anyways, very good.
So, after the car crash, we then see Maddie has completely given herself a makeover girl. She goes outside to look for David. She loses her earring.
Wait, so David? Is there somebody named David?
I don't know.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Let me just... I feel like this...
I do have Maddie and David.
Okay.
So,
I am getting these right.
Okay. Well, then so then if you're right about Eddie, is David the one that Robin sleeps with?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. Well,
so, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, this movie, there's a lot that's filmed in the woods.
Yes.
Like, specifically in the woods.
Don't go into the woods.
Well, here's my question. Like, you're looking for David. Why would he be in the woods?
I did think it was funny. She just walks right outside. David?
Yeah.
David?
In the woods.
Where are you?
You think he's out there,
He's
girl?
deep out in the woods.
Well, and what part of...
Why didn't you go look in the bedrooms?
Well, I'm just kind of like... I get that you just gave yourself a makeover, so you're kind of feeling yourself and you look good.
Yeah.
But you're in, legit heels...
Those white
walking
pumps
out in the woods.
Uh-huh.
Why are we doing that?
Those heels are going to sink in that dirt.
But yeah, to your point, why didn't you check the other bedrooms, girl? Like, what are you doing?
Why didn't you check the vans?
But maybe she did, and we just didn't see that.
Well, we needed a story. So.
I don't know.
When she finds her earring, a dead Russell falls from the tree. She runs off into a shed and sadly meets her demise.
Her scream, though, is so good to me. Like, he drops down, and it's kind of like slow motion. And
it is a good
that,
scream.
Guttural scream. Like, it's a really good scream.
I'm trying to think. Does she actually sees Jason? Does she see Jason in the distance at this point, or she just runs?
I think she just runs.
Why did she run to that shed and not run to the cabin? It doesn't matter.
You just
Who cares?
left.
Yeah.
You could have just went right back in the cabin you just left.
Well, again, it's a movie, and...
Movie magic.
We had to build suspense.
We had to have that thing where she crawls under the partition and crawls back.
Scene.
No, I do too.
Okay, look.
Oh, she was so close to making it.
She really was. And here's my thing with that. I vividly remember when I was a child, before I was into horror movies. At that point, the only horror movie I'd ever seen was Carrie, and it was obviously by mistake, and it traumatized me. Okay? But they would do Friday the 13th marathons on the USA Network. So all of these movies were, edited for television or whatever. But I remember sitting in my grandma's room, because she had a spare TV in there, and that's where the Nintendo was set up. So that's where I would always stay when I went to my grandma's. And I remember that scene coming on. And of course, as a kid, it was funny watching it eventually as an adult, because I was like, oh, she actually only crawled up under there once and then crawled back out. But as a kid, I thought it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I remember sitting there with a pillow over my face. I was traumatized. And then when he reaches through that wall and grabs her, I turned it off. And I was like, okay,
Done.
I can't watch this stuff.
Is it a scythe?
Yeah.
She gets it with a scythe.
I
And they
just-
completely cut that, too.
I just wrote in mine, I was like, she was not letting those heels go for nothing.
Well, she might.
She finally took them off, and then she
borrowed
clutched
them from
them.
Robin.
She sure did.
Like, she was like, no.
Well, then I thought about that too. I'm like, girl, leave the fucking shoes. Like, that important. But then I was like, well, maybe she's trying to like grab them that way if he can see, like he doesn't see just her shoes, knowing that somebody is in there.
Yeah.
But poor Maddie.
I know, poor Maddie. So at this point, Tina and Nick find each other, I think in the woods, and then Dr. Cruz and her mom discover the wrecked car. Mom yells and runs into the woods to find Tina. I'm like, God, calm down, be quiet.
I know. I was like, yeah, the car is like totally fine. She barely hit.
You can. The door's open. I think you can tell she got out.
Yeah.
Then I just put a bunch of fucking is happening in the cabin, in the other cabin. Then we see Ben and Kate are having sex in the van when they think Michael is outside. They are both killed. I just put Kate. Poor Kate.
Well, I'll say this. I think Kate is by far the prettiest girl in this movie. I think she's so pretty. And
she's sassy.
I don't know. Ben seems a little gay to me, but
because like
Ben
when
does?
they're making
Really?
when they're making that breakfast, and he makes that comment to her, because she's like back there working on whatever, and he's like, "Where's my coffee?" And she's like, "I don't know. Where is it?" Like, get your own damn coffee. I'm not
Yeah.
going to give you this coffee.
yeah, I thought she was so pretty. She gets a
party horn. What do you call
party, like a, those
One of
little
the-
things
yeah,
you blow.
blow.
Kazoo,
right in the eye?
almost like a kazoo.
I feel like that's the only death that they really show.
Well, I mean, you see him kind of like squeezing Ben's face.
Yeah, and it bleeds a little bit.
It like gushes.
Oh, he gets
Well-
his head crushed, basically.
Yeah, which is a kill on a lot of these are kills on the game. But I think hers, the reason why, because you just think, oh my gosh, something in the eye, like that's pretty gnarly, and for them to just he backs away and you just see it sticking out of her eye. I'm like, well, I bet if it was a knife, they would have had a bigger problem with it. But since it's such a comical item,
They're like, keep it in there.
yeah, they were like, meh, that's fine.
Well, I don't know if they were mid-coitus or about to get into coitus, but they sure got excited when they thought Michael was there, like playing a prank on it. Michael's here. Oh, Michael's here.
I've been
Oh,
waiting all weekend for him.
I'm like, you two were just
that's
about to have
I
sex.
kind of am on the same boat as that, because I was like, well, damn, y'all must not have been like that hot and heavy for y'all to have just jumped up and been like,
They were
"Oh my
more
God, Michael."
excited about Michael being there.
Maybe they had finished already, because when he jumps up, he has those gray sweatpants on. And please don't say coitus. I really don't like that.
That's the technical scientific term for sex.
Well, just say they were in there fucking
Coitus Maximus.
So you have a problem with coitus, but you don't have a problem with fucking?
coitus. God.
Well, no, everybody loves a good fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just keeping it classy over here.
Okay, well.
Well, Michael, we know that you're the classy one of the three of us.
And so do our listeners.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Melissa tells Eddie she has lied to him. Eddie gets up and says he has a date with a soap on a rope.
We've all been there. Honestly, why would you even...
I haven't
wanna
heard soap
fuck
in the
with that
rope in a
bitch?
million years.
Why would you want to fuck with that bitch anyway?
Well, these are horny
I know.
20-something years old. Jason knocks the power out to the house. A lot happens here. Nick and Tina then find a dead Michael. David then goes into the kitchen because he wants a snack
Because he's
and is
stoned.
killed.
Because he's stoned.
Well, is that blood all over the floor or is it mud?
It's mud.
Okay.
Jason's walked into the house. So it's mud. That's what it looks like to me. How does he kill him again? So many deaths. I can't remember.
I think he slashes his throat.
Somebody gets something to the face. I think that's what's his face though. I think that's Eddie. The one that's like under the
I'm
table.
gonna look.
Cibrion?
Yeah. Because the one that's like dead under the table has like a gash down his face.
Yeah, the soap and a rope. He got a gash to the face. Yes, because he's opening the presents. Remember, he's opening the presents.
No, Jason stabs him in the gut. I have it in my notes. Yes.
Okay, well, we watched 2 different movies because
I have to take very extensive notes so I can write this.
Okay, so what's the one that was fucking Robin?
David.
Yes.
Don't you think it's funny though how he gets like completely dressed to go downstairs?
And she's just butt naked?
Butt naked upstairs in the bedroom. Okay, so do you feel like... Well, go ahead and talk about Robin, and then I'll say my point.
Oh, I don't have anything. Robin doesn't come back up for a bit.
Oh, okay, well then that's fine. Continue.
Nick and Tina make it back to Tina's cabin, and they find the tent stake, and then they get a gun out of Dr. Cruz's office. They also find newspaper clippings about Jason. Tina is upset. She starts shaking the whole house with her telekinesis.
Lord.
And this is where you even learn even more how much of an asshole Dr. Cruz is, because why would he have all those clippings about Jason? And then he's been telling her Jason's not real.
He had an ulterior motive. He knew what he was doing.
Do you think he wanted to bring Jason back?
Maybe.
I'm like, why else would he have these clippings?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a whole manila
in
envelope.
that filing cabinet in her house. I think he was like hiding out there.
Yeah.
Well, because are we supposed to assume that Tina doesn't even know who Jason is?
Yeah.
No. I don't think any of them know who he is,
No, yeah,
except
I don't
for...
think they're supposed to know who he is. No.
Except for apparently Dr. Cruz.
Well, so if that's the case, when she got the newspaper clippings, why was she so upset? Oh, just because she put 2 and 2 together.
That's when she realized that it was
seeing.
Jason. That's when she realized who came out of the water was Jason, yes.
Well, it could have been your daddy in a mask.
Could have been. Look, all that time underwater makes you look a certain type of way. You found that hockey mask.
Well, unless you're her dad, apparently.
Yeah, I know. He looked exactly the same. Anyway.
Right. So Melissa leaves to find Nick, and Eddie is downstairs reading the birthday card and opening presents.
Yeah.
And he gets killed. Tina then says her mom is out in the woods, and there's a few scenes here. Tina says her mom's out in the woods. We then go back and we see Robin looking for David, and she finds some random cat in a closet, and it is thrown out the window.
Okay. Here we go. Robin. Did anybody else feel like her scene was unnecessarily long?
I want to know where the hell that cat came from. Because she even says, David doesn't have a cat.
Well, who cares where the cat came from? Here's my whole thing is her and David scene in the bed, like, not that that's like a long scene, but it's, they like chit chat a little bit, and then he goes downstairs, the thing with the flashlight, and then it goes back up to her. She goes to another bedroom, she finds the cat, but I just felt like it was all really long, and I was like, this director must have had a hard on for her, because everybody else, it's like wham bam, you're dead, man, but her,
she did have some big boobs,
considering, and she is a very cute girl, so whatever.
I did enjoy her death. I also enjoyed seeing what was obviously a man in a wig get thrown out a window, but
that's a man, Maury. It was pretty funny.
Bye, wig.
As she's going out the window, she's positioned in a certain way to where it's like, oh, like she's gonna land on her feet. I mean, that's only a 2-story house. It's not like it's a 4 or 5-story cabin. And then when she falls, it's just like, bam, right on her stomach.
Right.
Like,
it's like people when they belly flop into the water. That's what it she like. Belly flopped under the ground.
Yes.
So Nick goes back to his cabin. We then see Mom and Dr. Cruz out in the woods yelling when Jason shows up. Asshat Dr. Cruz uses Mom as a shield, and she is killed.
Pisses me off every time. Every time.
Oh, he's such an asshole.
I mean, could you possibly hate someone in a horror movie more?
No.
Like, and I just don't understand why they made him so
unlikable,
despicable.
He is.
Like, I almost wonder if they do it because, especially at that time with like Nightmare on Elm Street, like the Halloween movies, like, you liked the killers, right? Like, so this gives them a chance to make the killer seem a little bit more redeeming because he's killing such an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess, but I also feel like Jason doesn't really care who he kills.
No,
so.
totally not.
Such a neat... I feel like had he not held her there, she could have easily gotten away from
I
him.
think the mom could have been a co-final girl in this movie.
I agree.
I was
and she
very
should have been.
pissed off.
So Nick...
Yeah, they should have rode off together, for sure.
They should have. Nick finds a dead body in his cabin. He then goes back to Tina and finds Melissa in there and tells her everyone's dead. What, Melissa, why are you in this cabin?
Because she's thirsty.
Get the hell out of this cabin. I don't know. That really bothers me. She's just like, I'm going to go in here and walk around and look around.
Honey,
And
she don't care.
she sure does not.
Her daddy said she was the apple of his eye, and honey, she is.
We see Tina out in the woods, and she finds Dr. Cruz. They are both attacked by Jason, and Dr. Cruz is killed.
Yes.
Finally.
Thank God.
At least it was a good one.
I don't know what that was. That was some kind of
Like a
souped-up
chainsaw,
edger.
but on a stick.
I feel like it was
it's
an edger for like a long...
there's a name for it. It's a tool, but I can't think of... Well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure in the...
They made it they like rigged it specially for this movie, right?
No.
Oh, they found it in a cab, or...
The tool?
Yeah.
No, that's like a real tool that you can go out, I'm pretty sure, and just buy.
Okay.
I think. But no, what I was going to say was, I think in this death, he was supposed to be like folded in half almost, but there was no way for them to... I feel like it was him, because when I watched the Crystal Lakes documentary, which if y'all haven't watched, I highly recommend. It is really long. It is like 6 hours long, but it takes you from the very first one all the way to the last one. There's interviews with the filmmakers, interviews with the actors. It's really good. I have watched it like 3 times. Just, like when I was working at home, I would turn it on. So I've watched it like 3 times, but it's good. You watched it.
Yeah, I watched it with you.
Yeah, it's really good. But when I met Terry Kiser at Scarefest, was that 2 years ago maybe? 2 or 3 years ago? I can't remember. I told him that we had shown the movie at Fright Night Friday and everybody cheered when he got killed, and he was like, yeah, I was kind of an asshole in that movie, huh? And I was like, yeah, nobody liked you at all.
No one did. So then Tina finds her dead mom, and Jason follows her. She uses her powers to pull him into a puddle and electrocute him, but it does not work. I don't know, I got a little Evil Dead vibes when those roots came up.
For sure.
Yeah.
I also kind of felt like, I mean, I know that she's like scared in the moment, but what could possibly piss you off more than finding your dead mom in the middle of the woods?
Well, and that's when I was like, I think Tina is a super underrated final girl, because once she finds her mom, she like goes off looking.
Game's
for him.
over.
Like, she's like, okay, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, she goes running for him.
Well,
Right.
that's
And
all
in
she
what-
has left is her mom.
And in what Friday the 13th movie does the final girl go running after Jason to like fight?
Yeah.
None of them. None
Exactly. So Tina runs to Nick's cabin, and Jason jumps through the window. Thank God it's a window, and it's not
Not a
silver
wall.
bullet through the wall. She uses her powers to stop Jason, including a porch awning falling on him. She then goes back to her cabin.
Oh, I liked the part where she throws like there's a potted plant and it's got one
Has
of
the
guy's
head in
heads
it?
on it, and she like hurls it at him, because I was this was just me being stupid, but I was like, oh, she literally headbutted him.
Oh my God.
Is this when he's like kind of chasing her through the house and she's using her powers and stuff?
She
This
closes
was
the doors.
Actually,
and the
like one of my
couch.
favorite scenes, because I feel like, of course, we can't see Jason's face, but I feel like his mannerisms and like the way that he's moving, and
He's confused.
you can tell that he's like, what
What's
the
happening?
fuck is this girl?
Yeah.
Like,
And I think that's why Kane Hodder is such a good Jason, because he's even said, like, obviously his face is covered up, so you have to do things with
Some
your body.
you get some
to
emotions.
portray emotion.
Yeah.
He does a really good job, because you can pick up on that. He's
Yeah.
very confused.
Yes. So, back at Tina's cabin, Melissa does not believe them.
Imagine that.
and opens the door only for Jason to be standing there. And I just put, bye, bitch.
Gets that axe in the head, and then he just throws her ass behind the television. I kind of love it. He just throws her like a fucking rag doll.
And that's it. We don't. That's it. That's all you get, Melissa.
Okay, so you know what is really funny about Melissa? In Crystal Lake Memories.
I was hoping you'd bring this up.
Yeah. Crystal Lake Memories, they talk about the actress that played Melissa had passed away. Okay? And so I just assumed she passed away. I mean, this is Camp Crystal Lake Memories. Like, it's a pretty comprehensive documentary. Well, it wasn't until after that came out and people were like, oh, she died? No, she's not dead. She's alive and well wherever she lives, but she has the same name with somebody else that lived in the same area. And so when they saw that person's obituary, they just assumed it was the actress, but it was not. She's still alive.
Oh.
She was like, oh, people were like, why weren't you included? Well, they thought I was dead.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
That is crazy.
I would
So
like to
crazy.
meet her. I know that, so I've met, oh my gosh, Lar, Kevin, and Terry. And the guy that plays Michael was at Scarefest. I just didn't get a chance to meet him. But Diana, is it Barrows or Burrows? I can't remember. Who plays Maddie? She does conventions. And I really wish she'd pop up somewhere close. Because I would love to meet her.
You've met almost all the Friday the 13th final girls.
Yes. I've not met
3.
Part 3, and I've not met Jason Takes Manhattan, which I would have, but that was it. Wasn't that at Scarefest?
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to Scarefest last year
You had
because
to
I was
work.
working at Spirit Halloween because I just lost my job, so didn't really have the money to be doing anything anyway. But yes, those are the and
Who's the one in 3?
And Lexa Doig. I haven't met her. I'd really like to meet her from Jason X.
The one from 3 you say cancels all the time.
Yeah, she was supposed to be at Monster Mania one of the years we went, and she canceled.
They got Melanie Kinnaman instead.
Instead, yeah, because Kimberly Beck was there. I'd already met Melanie, but I did meet Kimberly. But anyways, yeah.
They've all been nice.
I love my Friday the 13th Final Girl.
I was about to say, you haven't met What's-Her-Face from Freddy vs. Jason.
I don't want to meet her. If you're a fan of this show...
what's her name? Monica Keena?
Yeah, Monica. Abby from Dawson.
She doesn't even look like
Abby
Monica
from
Keena,
Dawson. She
though.
got pushed off the pier. Well, she fell off the pier because she was drunk and she died. Right? Isn't that how she died off the creek? I hate Freddy vs. Jason. It is very last on my list for either one of those film series.
See, Mike and I
It's
like
fucking
it. So.
terrible. I don't like the camera work. I don't like the characters. I think it's stupid as fuck.
You don't like when Kelly Rowland calls...
No, when she calls
Have
him
a faggot?
No, I don't. I don't like that. Anyways,
I love when Freddy knocks her nose off, though. That makes...
I just hate that fucking movie. Anyways, let's talk about this movie.
So Nick and Tina run upstairs and are trapped. Tina uses her powers and Jason falls through the stairs. Then... I just thought about this. Then Jason jumps out of the wall and almost kills Nick. Tina uses her powers again to hang Jason, and he is dropped into the basement. Jason grabs Tina and pulls her down with him. What were you going to say?
Well, because that stair scene I like, but I was also kind of like, why would she not just take the stairs out instead of like... Because how did he fall through?
Because he's heavy.
Because that
He's a big
night,
man.
that light fixture knocks him back, and when he
And
falls, he
through
breaks
it.
through the stairs.
So yeah, I was just kind of like, why wouldn't you have just like
Taken out.
taken
Why
out
the hell are all the
stairs
doors
yourself?
locked upstairs?
Well, not only that, but this is obviously a two-story house. That's not the only room upstairs.
They acted like it
Like, is
was.
that the only door upstairs that you can go through?
Yeah.
I also
Whatever.
think it's funny how, like, Nick comes close to dying, like, twice. But, like, okay, you were talking about this earlier. Like, Jason doesn't care. He's going to kill you. He made no attempt at all to kill Nick after. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just on the ground. He had every opportunity to pick him up and kill him.
Yeah.
Never did. Which I thought was kind of weird.
God
His
saves the
little
gays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was-
His little crush on Nick.
Maybe it is true. Like, Robbie says in Scream 4, was it Robbie or Charlie?
Robbie.
He says
Robbie.
You almost have to be gay.
Yeah, because when he's about to be killed,
And look at Kevin Spirtas surviving.
No,
We got
that's not
two
the
final
rules.
girls.
I'm gay.
yeah. So she then uses her powers, which includes nails, gasoline, and setting Jason on fire. Nick gets Tina out of the basement, and they go out onto the dock.
I don't know why I didn't mention this sooner, but the music that plays anytime Tina starts to use her powers, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like a theme. I really like it.
Tina's theme.
We'll Probably is what it's called. I don't know, but
you just got the score.
I did, but I should look and see what it's. But I like that music that it plays. It's like kind of, I don't want to say, I don't think whimsical is the right word, but it's like very childlike.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I like this whole scene, how he gets the nails in the head and then that gasoline. Though, the gasoline obviously gets on her, whatever it is, her flannel, but it's obviously all over the rest of her shirt, but she acts like it's not. I'm just going to toss this off because gas is on it, but she's still covered in gas.
Well, but to be fair, that flannel's like loose, so if it was to catch, it could catch on fire. At least her other clothes, like she has her shirt tucked in. Look, I've stitched that character twice, so I know exactly what she's wearing. Okay, her shirt is tucked in. She's got a little belt on.
Yeah.
So
I think I did read this is where Kane Hodder was lit on. Was this where he was lit on fire for 40 seconds, which is the record for any stunt person being lit on fire?
It could be, because he's on fire for a hot minute. No pun intended. But also, this, when she breaks his mask off, this is the longest he has seen in any Friday the 13th without his mask.
I was about to say, every time in a Jason movie we see Jason without a mask, it's always like very alarming to me.
Yeah.
Which I guess is
gnarly face.
Yeah, he looks literally crazy in this.
Yeah. When that mask flies off upstairs before they go down there or whatever, well, and I feel like the actors do a good job too, because like when it comes off, you can tell like Tina was not ready for what was underneath
to see all that
mask. Yeah, because it's gnarly. I also like. Well,
do you think? Sorry.
No, what?
Do you think that like that was a moment where it was kind of one of those things like, I want to see who I'm fighting? Because didn't she get it off with her powers?
She did it. Yeah.
Well, she was crushing crushing his head, and then it broke. It snapped in half.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like oozing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the makeup in this one, though. I like that you can see like his exposed spine.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look cheesy.
Because he's more like a zombie rotting Jason at this point.
Yeah, this is why this movie's a little bit more supernatural. Obviously, I have the telekinesis, but just him, it's more supernatural. He is more like a zombie.
You have to be. I mean, he was under that lake for a little bit.
Honey, he's everything happened to him.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
So Jason shows up when they're out on the dock, grabs Tina and tosses her, and then shoves Nick into the lake, and he fortunately lands in a boat.
Yeah. See? Saved again.
Yeah. Jason is going after Tina, and she uses her powers to resurrect her dead dad, who pulls Jason into the lake with some chains. So this brings us back to that point in the beginning of the movie. They were not concerned or did not care to look for her dad at the beginning when he died. They're like, whatever. He's dead. We'll just leave him in that lake.
Mike said he looks exactly
the same.
That was my only complaint. I was like, he
should have looked a little waterlogged and rotted.
He had like a little bit of makeup on, but not nearly enough to look like a man that's been under the water for 10 years.
I do think the ending, well, I like it, is a little weird. Because I feel like anyone that would have died in the lake under the circumstances her dad did, they would have gotten him out of the lake. It's not even really a lake. I mean, it's called Crystal Lake, but it's right there on the shore. Yeah. They even went and got that blonde bitch out of the Percy Priest Lake when she died in it.
Well, and then I was thinking, I'm like, okay, trying to play devil's advocate with the creators here. Like, maybe they were like, oh, maybe his body just wasn't found after it happened. Like, maybe he
couldn't find it.
And that's why he's still, because that's the part that bothers me the most. So of course I try to like analyze it to make it make sense. That's what I do. But that's the one thing that I'm like,
I mean, we could definitely talk through it. It does not bother me to the point where I'm like, that's so stupid. But Jason's right there, and he pops up where he's at. So wouldn't you think that her dad was there?
Well, if that's the case, if they would have went looking for her dad, obviously,
they would have found Jason.
They would have found Jason.
Maybe that's why, that plot point. They could not go get her dad because they would have found Jason, and we would not have had Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Maybe the cops and stuff know about Jason and was like...
Oh, they definitely did.
Because of Part 6.
Down there in Part 6, who's the final girl? The sheriff's daughter. So, yes, the police...
There we go.
Know.
We solved the
There
mystery. That's why they could not go get her dad's body.
Yeah,
okay.
The cops
mystery
like,
solved.
Oh, sorry. He's just going to stay down there. We don't fuck with that lake.
Exactly. We're not touching that. So all the emergency services show up and take Nick and Tina away in the same ambulance, and the movie is over.
I would say it's a pretty happy ending considering a lot of the other endings in the movies.
Well, she's like, where's Nick? And they're like, oh, he's okay. And then they somehow end up in the same ambulance, which I don't think happens, but I enjoyed it.
Well, they had like 37 other bodies they had to carry off. So, yeah, then maybe they had to share an ambulance.
Well, they were all dead. They didn't need an ambulance.
They just needed body bags.
Yes.
Just imagine surviving that, and then, like, everything's good. The police show up, and then you're like, so there's like 30 bodies. I'll have to show you where they are.
All scattered throughout this.
Yeah. Well, luckily...
How many bodies were there? Do we know?
Well...
I actually want to know. How many bodies were there?
Well, but luckily, Jason likes to arrange his victims. So at that one point when they're in the woods... Oh,
you do see a bunch of them together.
Maddie, you see Sandra, you see...
Russell.
Who was nailed to the tree? Why'd he nail that one to the tree?
Oh,
poor
man. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's go through our notes. Now, we could just turn on an episode of Dead Meat, because I know he's done a kill count of this. But, okay, so we're not including her dad, though, right?
No.
Okay, so obviously we've got...
Michael and the girlfriend.
Michael.
Yes,
Okay.
Jane and Michael.
We have Dan and the other girl.
So we're at 4.
We're at 4. So think about it in couples. Then you have Russell and Sandra.
So we're at 6.
Okay. Then you have Kate and Ben.
Yes.
Is that my friend's name? Okay.
Yes.
Then you have Robin and David.
So we're at 10.
Okay. Eddie.
Okay.
By himself. You have Mom, Cruz,
Maddie.
That's it, right? So 14.
Are we including that random couple that was in there too?
That's Dan.
That is Dan.
Dan, I want wood.
And Melissa.
So 15.
15 deaths in this movie. That is crazy.
Gnarly.
In like an hour and 28 minutes.
Yeah. And I'm trying to make sure that's it. But I think that's it. Because it's pretty much... I mean, all of the characters...
I mean, it's basically literally everybody,
it's the entire
but...
cast.
Except for Tina and Nick.
Yeah, it's the entire cast. Well, but what I will say what I do like about this one, yes, they're just killing people off left and right. You don't know much about them. But for the most part, like, at least they all have some kind of story. Like, even, like, Kate and Ben. You don't know much about them, but you know that they're a couple. And they're friends. You know that Michael's the cousin and they're going to his surprise party and him and his girlfriend dies. Really the only two that you don't know anything about that are complete strangers are the two in the woods. At least everybody else kind of has a little side story about them, and it's not just random people, which I like. The time has come for Michael's favorite segment, Horror Fried Theater. Mike, tell us what we're doing.
Okay. So... this one, I had to get a little creative with because there was a couple scenes that, like, I was like, okay, I can do that. But there was a lot of stuff in between the two. Mm-hmm. So I cut all that out so that we could just have these two scenes together, and I'll just kind of, like, very quickly over-narrate, gloss over everything that happens in between the two scenes.
Okay.
So the scenes are going to be the two scenes with Tina, her mom, and Dr. Cruz. So when, the first time they kind of get into a big spat with the mom in there, and then, well, the next one. So you'll know how to do all of this.
Okay.
I do have, so I have it as Keith, you're going to be Tina. I was going to be Dr. Cruz. And then Michael, I have you as Miss Shepherd and Nick, because Nick doesn't really have, like, a lot in this. But...
Mama.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we ready?
Ready, Freddy.
Okay. Jason.
Ready? Jason.
All right.
What's up, y'all? It's your favorite movie maniacs, Jesse.
And Brittany.
From Danger Zone Video.
Voted Nashville's best new video store.
And you bought the ticket? Now it's time to take the ride. This is Horror Fried Theater.
After hanging out with the group of kids next door at the surprise party for Michael, Tina sees a vision of Jason killing, well, Michael, with a large spike. She drops her drink and the glass breaks, goes everywhere. Once she runs back to her house, she notices the same spike from her vision stabbed into the door frame. She runs inside.
Mom?
Tina?
Mom, I saw him again. The man, the thing in the lake. I saw him again. He was killing a boy with a metal spike.
Hey, relax. What do you mean you saw it?
Well, I didn't actually see it, but I know.
Okay, what were you doing right before it happened?
Why?
Because these are delusions. Tina, you're creating images of your father.
All right, well, he left a large delusion stuck in our back porch. Why don't you just go look if you don't believe me?
All right, okay, I will.
Tina?
I'm right. I know I'm right.
Dr. Cruz walks out on the porch, doesn't see the spike. Tina, Miss Shepherd come out to the porch. Tina's shocked to find that the spike is in fact gone.
But it was here. It was right here, the large spike that I saw. What's happening to me? Help me, please.
Shh, I'll help you, but you have to help me.
Honey, come on into the house. Come on, sweetie.
It was there. I know it was there. I just don't know what's happening.
In the woods, we then see Jason kill Michael and his girlfriend. The next morning, the kids are all wondering where Michael is and why he didn't show up to the party. Nick and Tina have a heart-to-heart out by the lake, where Melissa's in the distance eavesdropping on the conversation. Tina prepares to hang out with everyone, and Nick is nowhere to be found. Melissa pulls Eddie aside, wraps his jacket around the front side of him, similar to a straitjacket, to make a joke. Tina, embarrassed and also angry, focuses on her necklace, breaks it off her neck, and then storms out of the room back home. Tina is freaking out, talking to her mom and Dr. Cruz.
I hate this place. He's making me do things I don't want to do. I'm seeing things. I could have killed somebody. How could I have done that?
Because, Tina, when you're highly emotional, you do almost anything you see. It just proves my point. I mean, you made the matchbox move, you broke the pearls.
All right, if you can believe that I did some of those things, then why can't you believe that I saw someone get killed?
We do believe you, Tina. Your psychokinesis and these delusions are just all tied together.
No! You're not listening to me! You haven't heard a single word that I've said! Mama! Please, can we go back now? I don't want to stay here anymore.
Go back where, Tina? Look at me, back at the hospital? We're starting to make some real progress because you are here.
Mama!
We'll go back tomorrow morning.
You can't just leave now.
It's just not working.
Do you want to throw all this away? I mean, we're at a very critical point. Do you want to see your daughter in the hospital for the rest of her life? Is that what you want?
Look what you're doing to her.
Tina begins looking back, and for the... I don't even know what that says. And at the moment, the TV from behind her goes floating across the room and aimed right at Dr. Cruz. She runs downstairs and out onto the porch where Nick is opening the door to come up onto the porch.
Hey, whoa, where are you going?
Oh, Nick, I want to get out of here.
Melissa was a bitch.
No, forget Melissa. There's something really wrong here. I know it. No one else believes me.
Tina, what are you talking about?
Did your cousin Michael ever show up?
No, he didn't.
Well, what does he look like?
Tina, I don't see what that has to do with anything.
Can you tell me what he looks like? Do you have a picture or something?
Yeah, I do. I think I do.
Nick pulls his wallet out and shows a picture of Michael and his girlfriend that he has.
He's right here.
Oh, God.
What?
I think he's dead, Nick.
Nick scoffs, and about that time, Miss Shepherd comes walking out from inside.
Tina, pack your things. We're going to leave in the morning.
She pulls Tina back inside and leaves Nick looking very confused on the porch.
So you've survived another Horror Fried Theater. Congratulations. if you would ever like to come peruse some wares, maybe come purchase a movie mentioned on this podcast, come down to Danger Zone Video, 11942 Lebanon Road, Mount Juliet, Tennessee, 37122. Come visit us and leave absolutely horrified.
Tina, bring me the axe.
Also, I didn't mention this when we were talking about this, but isn't it a little weird that he just has a picture of his adult cousin in his wallet?
This was the 80s. We're just going to go with it.
Readily available.
It is weird, but then I think back when I was like younger and I'd get like a wallet, you know? I had pictures of like my cousins in it and stuff. So
Did you?
Yeah, I mean I was younger.
Because I had a photo wallet too.
Yeah.
I was pretty big about that, but mine was just like my friends. Like
I feel like you would have had yours full of people you had the hots for.
Oh, well, I mean, they were in there too.
We had pictures of Bon Jovi, Jason Patrick,
people from
no, that was on my
wall,
my notebooks that had like the viewfinder. You know, like the front was clear. Anyway,
but okay, so let's think about it like this: he was only there for Michael's birthday, right?
Yeah.
So to me,
clearly they're close.
They were very close. So yeah, why wouldn't he have a picture? And it was a picture of Michael and Jane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
people don't have those wallets anymore.
No, people have money clips and iPhones.
Right.
I'm gonna start. You know what? I'm gonna start carrying around photos.
You can have a photo.
Well,
of
yeah,
me?
because remember how people used to like have the they used to roll out.
Yeah. Roll out. That was the thing. Okay, let me ask you this before we go into our final thoughts. If you had a wallet and you could have 5 pictures, just 5 pictures, and think single photos.
Okay.
They're single photos. Whose picture would you have? Or let's just make it easy. 5's too many. 3. You can only pick 3 people to have in your wallet. Who would you have?
My parents, my nieces, and me and Ryan.
Well, that's 2 people in one picture and 2 people in another. That is against the rules.
Yeah.
Well, I can't pick a
single photo.
I can't pick
single photo.
So a single person.
Yes.
Single person.
I mean, probably.
Well, Ryan, obviously.
And then I would think maybe like my granny.
Uh-huh.
And then,
sorry, Daddy's going with Mom on this one.
Well, I wasn't even thinking my parents, to be honest. I was thinking of my nieces or my.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it is true. Like most of the time, if you have a photo, it's going to be like a family photo of somebody, not just a single photo. So I guess that's a little unfair of me.
But we'll just say Gracie.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say so. Ryan, my granny, and Gracie.
Okay.
Okay.
Who would you have, Michael?
My mom, my dad, and you. Because let's be honest, I do not give a flying fuck about my siblings. I do not give a shit about my nieces or nephews. They don't listen to this podcast. I do not give a crap about most of my family. So
I would have a picture of you.
Oh.
A picture of Peggy.
Oh.
And a picture of Buddy. And
I
that's
love
it.
that.
Literally.
Look, here's my thing. I cannot choose favoritism when it comes to my nieces and nephews, so they just wouldn't be in there at all.
Right.
You
I mean,
know?
that was the
Well,
hardest
you get
part for
along
me.
with yours, so.
I do. But realistically, if it was like, you know, like I'd probably have a picture of my parents in there. I'd have a picture of me, of my nieces and nephews, one of me and my sister, like all that stuff. But,
your granny.
Huh?
Your
My
They'd probably have a
grandma.
picture of Ronnie and Mike and Ryan.
Probably one of Kelly. Me
Clarkson.
And Kelly Clarkson.
I'm sure you'd
I'd have one of
picture your
Suzanne
mama up in there.
Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
Kylie Minogue would definitely
sure.
be in there.
That'd be a thick wallet, though. Like,
That's why people stopped doing it.
Have you ever seen Mike's wallet? Do you remember Mike's
Yeah, I
wallet?
know.
That's why you had your back problems.
That's why you
that
have
was
back problems.
that was before, like, wallets that didn't have pictures. Like that big wallet that y'all remember didn't even have pictures. So imagine what it was like when I was in high school, and I had a wallet that actually did have.
I'm surprised your pants stayed up.
You might as well have just stuck a 3-ring binder in your back pocket.
Right.
I mean,
One of those ones where you did the tops cards in them. That's what he pulled out. He had all of his shit in that.
Ugh.
A Trapper Keeper.
I love my Trapper Keeper, though.
It's now time for our final finger-licking thoughts here at Horror Fried. We rate our films using the heat scale of Nashville's famous hot chicken on a scale of 1 to 5. No spice, mild, medium, hot, and Nashville hot. So I guess this is my pick. I'll go first again. I love this movie. I give it a hot. It is my second favorite Friday the 13th in the series, which is why I can't give it a 5, because if I'm going to give any Friday the 13th movie a 5, it's going to be Part 2, hands down, bar none. It's the best. I don't care what anybody else has to say. It is the best Friday the 13th movie. However, I think Part 7 is super underrated. It came much later. I think it's very original. I like the fact that Tina, again, she's not really scared of Jason. Like, she's not running from him. She's fighting him. You know, that one scene she runs towards him because he's just killed her mom. Like, I just feel like she's a very underrated final girl. I like the whole idea behind it. It makes the movie a lot more fun. It's not just a normal slasher movie, because this could have been just a normal slasher movie. And she could have been a damsel in distress. It's like running away from him, you know, like most final girls. But I just think it's different and it's fun, and I love it. So yes, I would give it a hot. Do you know my number 3? If I had to do a top 3 Friday the 13th movie,
Can I guess? Is it 10? X?
It is. And look, people shit on me for that because that was a terrible movie. Yeah, it is terrible, but it's really fucking fun. So,
and it was different.
It was different.
And you have that gnarly death with the head, frozen head.
Scenes in it. I really like Alexa Doyle anyways, so I liked that she's the final girl in that. But I do. I like Jason X. After that, it would probably be the original. But it's hard. I mean, they're all really good. I think I like parts 4 and 5 above 3. I'd say 3 is one of my lesser favorites.
Which is surprising, because I feel like a lot of people love part 3.
A lot of people do love part 3. And I like some of the characters in it. But I don't know.
She's not your favorite final girl, though.
No, I think she's the weakest out of all of them. I'm sorry. I know y'all love her. I just think she's...
I know that Jason Takes Manhattan is my least favorite.
Oh, yeah. Mine, too.
Is it?
Well, if we're just...
Good point. Good point.
You're right. If we're just going regular Friday the 13th movies, then yes, it's my least.
But you also don't... Do you like the remake of Friday the 13th?
No,
I didn't think you did. But you like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I like Willa Ford in the remake. But I hate the rest of it.
I want to be bad.
I would love to meet Willa Ford.
Well, she does cons. Anyways.
Jared Padalecki's in that, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And
he's fine in it, too. Like, I have nothing against
Who's the other girl in it?
Danielle
Panabaker.
But that other guy is in it, too, that was on... the muscly guy, he was in You.
He does a lot of cons too.
He does, and he's apparently he's like super nice. I don't know what his name is though. Anyway,
and his sister, Padalecki's sister, does a lot of cons too.
Yes,
because she's technically the final girl in that.
A bunch of they've been popping up. I think they're all going to be at Spooky Empire. Yeah, I would love to meet Willa Ford, but. Anyway. Love this movie. It's getting a hot for me. Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Had you watched this before, Mike? I don't know if he asked you that.
He went to Friday Night Fridays, I'm pretty sure, and watched it.
No, he did not go to any of the 2022 movies.
Gotcha.
He was busy.
But, no, I had... Because during COVID, I sat and watched all of them from front to back. Because I don't know that I had actually ever sat and watched all of these before. But with that being said, this one is actually probably my favorite.
Really? Out of all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But all of that to say, Jason in general is not like...
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Horror Fried Podcast. That is Mike Martin.
That is Michael Combs.
And that is Keith Clanton.
We are continuing our journey through the supernatural and are back with episode 9 in our series. I have a question.
Okay.
Have you ever used your telekinetic abilities to send a notorious serial killer back to the watery grave that you awoke him from?
My junior prom.
Oh, okay, Mary Lou.
I was thinking Carrie, but...
Huh?
I was thinking Carrie.
Yeah, that's our senior prom.
Find my senior prom.
Oh, senior prom. Well, you are in luck, because today we are discussing Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
This is the one you've been waiting for.
What's happening to me?
Your psychokineses and these delusions are...
No, you're not listening to me!
The one you've been asking for.
Hey, Tina, isn't this the way they wear their jackets back in the mental hospital?
Concentrate. Concentrate, Tina!
The one you've been dying for.
You people give me the creeps.
Okay, you big hunk of a man, come and get me.
Jason is back. But this time, someone is waiting.
Jason?
Tina, don't go in there!
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
There goes the neighborhood.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood is a 1988 American supernatural slasher film directed by John Carl Buechler. I think I'm saying that right. Don't really know. And it stars Lar Park Linkcoln, Kevin Blair, better known as Kevin Spirtas, Susan Blue, Terry Kiser, and Kane Hodder in his first appearance as Jason Voorhees, a role that he would reprise in 3 more films in the series. Michael.
So the movie opens with a voiceover, and we get previous movie flashbacks, and that ends with the ending of Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Mm-hmm. So did you know that this was the last film in the series to feature flashbacks?
I did not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Why do you think that is? Actually,
because they're no longer called Friday the 13th movies?
No, that's not it. Actually, I don't know if this is the reason, but I do know that because there's a lot of flashbacks in pretty much all the movies, and they never paid their actors royalties until years later, because some of these actors, you know, they were in, like, well, let's say Friday the 13th Part 2. I'm just going to use Amy Still as an example, because I know that she spoke about this. But she never saw any of the movies after that. You know, it was like a one-and-done kind of thing. Well, she didn't find out until much later that they were using clips from Part 2 that featured her and all these other subsequent films, and she was not getting paid for it. So, a lot of the actors ended up eventually making royalties off of all the other movies, because even though it was a very small clip,
they were still in it.
Still in the movie. Still said that she actually made more in royalties from her little cameo in Mean Girls than she does the Friday the 13th series. Because, you know, in Mean Girls, before she comes in from the Halloween costume party that she's dressed up as, like, an ex-wife, she says, Damien and... Help me out. Damien and what's the other girl's name?
Lizzie Kaplan's character?
Yeah, but what's her... Janice. Janice and Damien are watching Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So she said she actually makes more royalties from that than she does the Friday the 13th series. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Also, there's the beginning of this movie's narrated, right? You can hear a narration. Do you know who that person is?
Kane Hodder?
No.
Yeah.
Don't know what his actual name is, but it's the man that played Crazy Ralph in part 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay.
Remember Crazy Ralph?
Yep.
The only little look, we're diving into all kind of little tidbit info for this. But one thing that I saw when I was looking up something else with it was that you know who like the writer is?
No.
That's because nobody does. Apparently, it was like a fake name that was tagged to this script. Because apparently the script was written during a strike and nobody wanted to stake claim over having put this script out there in the world during the middle of a strike. So nobody's ever known who actually wrote this script.
Classified as a rat.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know if it's the same writer, but I do know that this was supposed to be a Freddy vs. Jason movie, and they couldn't come to an agreement, the two studios, so then they kind of rewrote it and came up with this Tina character. Because you think about it, it's not really your typical Friday the 13th movie. She's pretty much fighting back the whole movie. Mm-hmm. So they added that in. So I don't know how much of that script was actually used for this.
Well,
or if it's the same writer, I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that. Because that was a long time ago, considering how long it took to actually get a Freddy vs.